Okay, so goal for today is I'd like to create a handful of different Notion widgets, kind of a minimal aesthetic that would blend really nicely in with my Notion pages. I would like to build them all for free, so I'm going to focus on using free tools like Claude, Netlify for hosting, and then the embedding should work directly in Notion. By the end of this video, we should have built, hosted, and embedded a few of those different widgets. Some of the ones I have in mind were like an annual countdown, so time left in the year, month, week. I was thinking about doing a Pomodoro timer because that's something I use a lot anyways. We'll play around with a few other things, just slightly more creative ideas that I had that I don't really know that I'll actually use, but we'll iterate as we go. And with that, let's just dive in. Obviously, we've got our prompt window here with Claude open. To start, I'm going to keep it really simple. I'm not going to try to write a particularly well-structured prompt. I want to see how well it does when I keep things pretty basic, and then obviously, if we find a need to write a more well-formed prompt, which is often the case, then we'll just go ahead and do that live. So to start, I'm going to prompt Claude to create a Notion widget. And let's start with the countdown. Annual, a visual countdown of time left. The year, quarter, day. Okay, so we just have create a Notion widget, a visual countdown of time left in the year, quarter, month, week, and day. Keep the theme in line with Notion. This is a pretty poorly written prompt, if I'm honest, and I just want to see what it will do. Some things we could say instead of keep the theme in line with Notion, it could have been like use Notion's font stack, use Notion's color palette. We could be more specific, but let's see how it does with very little instruction. Obviously, right now, it's going to go ahead and create that artifact, so it's writing the code for us. Once it's done, it's going to show a preview, so we'll be able to see how it came out. See, it's writing the calculations for time left. That's pretty neat. Oh, cool. Okay. All right, time remaining, year, quarter, month, week, day. I really like this. I think this is a great version. It shows today's date up at the top. You can see, because it's about 11 p.m. right now, I have an hour and 1 minute remaining in the day. That's pretty cool. I like the percentages. Oh, subtle hover thing. I do like that. It says it has dark mode support. I'm curious about that. Let's see if it actually works. I'm going to switch my monitor to dark mode. It does. Okay, that's excellent. I'm actually really pleased with that, especially that it decided to do that without being prompted. Notion, if you're a regular user, does have dark mode support, and it is something I really like. So if my widgets are able to switch too, that's great. Okay, I have some things I'd like to change about this. I think I would like it to be less text, more just kind of minimal visuals, but I'm actually going to move on just for the sake of kind of running through the other examples. We can always come back to this one. So let's go ahead and have it create a new artifact. I'm actually just going to stay in the same chat window. I might move later if I find that the context becomes an issue. So create a new Notion widget. We'll be clear about that so it doesn't change this one. Let's do the Pomodoro timer next. I'm going to give it like no instruction. I kind of want to see what it would do. It already knows from the previous prompt that we want the aesthetic to match Notion, and I just want to see if that will carry over. I'm seeing a lot of plain white hex codes fly by, so I think our odds are good. Okay, see it's developing progress rings, so this will be circular for sure. Amazing. Okay, we've got it. So 3 timer modes, so 25-minute focus time, 5-minute short break, and a 15-minute long break. And let's just test this out, see kind of what the burn down visual looks like. There is a burn down visual. That is really neat. Okay, it says it has dark mode support. Once again, we're gonna test it. Sometimes it thinks it can do things that it can't. Yep, but that looks great. Okay, really, really pleased with that. Amazing. I'm just gonna keep moving then. Let's do the clock next, even though that's pretty simple and not terribly useful. So create a new Notion widget, a clock. I'm gonna say set to the user's computer time rather than any sort of specific time zone or have it make a decision. I think that's one thing I do want to be clear about. And I'm going to say an analog clock with a digital clock below in 12-hour AM PM format. Sure. Once again, pretty poorly written prompt. Very interested to see how it does with that. Also, I'm loving that it is actually pulling Notion's font stack. I think that's pretty neat. Without having to be prompted, to do that specifically, or for me to know what Notion's fonts are. It's great. All right, looks like we're gonna get a 3-hand clock, so there should be a minute hand and a second hand. Cool. Okay, yeah, there is indeed a second hand. It's got like the little ticks around the clock for the hours and minutes. That is an accurate time for me. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do a dark mode test. This is one I don't necessarily foresee myself using, but nonetheless, thought it'd be a good thing to create. Okay, cool. Let's move on to our wildcards. I don't know if I'm gonna use these, but I just wanted to see if it could do them. I wanted sort of like a random number generator kind of concept, but I want to ask it to create a dice roller. And I don't know why I'm going with dice roller, but I just want to see what it can do. This is terrible prompting, by the way. As somebody who writes documentation on how to write a good AI prompt, I'm appalled at myself, but I'm more appalled that everything's going great. So that's fine. We're gonna take it. All right, this is definitely gonna be our wild card. I have no idea what I would use this for, but I envisioned it, so I'm gonna create it. This one's definitely taking longer. Oh boy, okay. We have a dice roller. Let's see what it does. It's interesting how it gave different dice types. Like if you play D&D or something, this would be pretty handy, actually. We'll roll 1 dice, D6, good standard. There's an animation. All right, you know what? This is cute. I like it. Let's do 2 dice. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I have no idea what I would use this for. Let's be real. It's just neat. Dark mode. Let's see how it does with that. Great. I think dark mode looks perfect. Contrast is fine. You know what? It doesn't hurt, all things considered, that we're going with a Notion aesthetic, which tends to be black and white. I think, contrast-wise, pretty easy to flip into a dark mode. I think if I was developing something that wasn't just like black and white and high contrast, it might have a harder time with the dark mode, but so far so good. Next one I think I will use is I wanted it to generate journal prompts for me. I think more realistically in the end I'm gonna have a list of specific journal prompts that I want it to cycle through, but in this case, just for this particular video, I'm gonna have it come up with its own. So create a new Notion widget, again keeping it very simple. A random journal prompt generator with a refresh button to generate each new prompt. I want to have like a handwritten font. I actually know which font I want, so I'm going to prompt it for that. You could also say just use a handwritten font if that was something that you wanted. So for the prompt itself, use font. Font. I'm pretty sure it's called Architect's Daughter. If I get it wrong, we'll find out. For the rest of the widget, keep theme to Notion's aesthetic. We're going to talk like a real human. Just see what happens. So far, I've been very pleasantly surprised. It's doing a lot of writing. This is cool. Okay, I see it actually writing the prompts themselves right now, like the text for them. Very interesting. This is pretty cool. If you had a CSV file of specific prompts, that would be great to put in here. Journal prompt generator, get inspired with a new writing prompt. Cute, okay. Okay, this is pretty good. I'm gonna prompt it to make a couple changes. This is pretty texty. I don't entirely love that. I was kind of hoping for like a really clean, minimal banner. So I'm really talking to this as a human. That's so not to the standards that I tend to write about. So let's make this minimal. No text except for necessary functions. No titles or other visuals. Yeah, we're just gonna see what happens. Okay, interesting. I noticed that when I prompted it to do that, it removed the category of the journal prompts, so that's kind of cool. It even took the text off the buttons. Okay, what made you smile today and why did it matter? That's a cute prompt. Okay, and there's a copy button. I just copied that. I wonder if that works. It does. Very good. Okay, I do like that. Great. Very happy with that, and we're gonna try dark mode. Works. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna move on to another widget then. I would like to do like a recipe unit converter. Go with measurement converter. So now I even dropped the word Notion. I've just said create a new widget. It should have the context of what we've been doing and carry that forward. So far, that has worked out just fine. What I wonder is like, will it maybe pick up that handwriting font again that I probably wouldn't want in the other widgets? We'll see what happens. And if I have to reprompt, obviously we'll do that. Recipe converter, I think I probably will end up using. I do kind of store some of my recipes in Notion, and it would be really handy just to kind of have that off to the side there. It is something I do tend to end up pulling out my phone for when I'm on my computer or iPad looking at recipes. Okay, so from 1 cup to interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so this functions. I like the little switch thing. That's really nice. Common conversions is handy, and it's not bad that it added it, but I think I'm going to remove it. Yeah, I'm not even going to prompt anything more than that. I just want to take up as little space as possible, ideally. Yep, removed easily without, harming any other functions. That's cool. Okay, so it has, pretty common food-related measurements like teaspoon, tablespoon. So let's go, should be 3 = 1. Yep, awesome. Great, and we'll do a little dark mode check since we've been doing it on all of them. Nice, I like that. Okay, this one's another wild card. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this, but I have seen some people have like these visual sort of grids that show like time left in, some people do it like time left in their life, and depending on how long they think they're gonna live. I just wanna do time left in the year. I think it'd be really nice to see visually moving through the year. I know I kind of have an annual countdown already, but in this case, I don't want any text at all. So we're gonna prompt this, create a new Notion widget. We'll say a year grid with a box representing each day. I'm gonna be a little more specific with this prompt. Let's say arrange the grid as 52 weeks times 7 days. It should include no text. Visually demonstrate how far into the year it. Terrible prompting. That's fine. We'll see what it does. That's so funny. In my head, I pictured this going vertically because each week is 7 days times 52 weeks, and now it's horizontal. It messes with my brain a little bit, but I don't hate it. I think it's pretty cool what they created. Say weeks as rows. We'll do each week as one row. We're gonna try to change that. Cool. Now it's huge. So, okay, let's, I'm terribly prompting this and really enjoying it. I'm just gonna say make it tiny. I wanna see what happens. We can get way more specific if we need to. But so far I haven't needed to. It's not bad. Okay, yeah. I'll take it. Some more things I want to change about this, but I do think we should focus on the rest of the video, and you don't need to watch me do all of that. So next step, obviously, is going to be hosting all of these. So you'll notice at the top here, it kind of creates this list. So these are all the widgets that we just created. And then next to each one is the version of that widget. So like I can go all the way back to V1 on this one. So what we want to do, of course, is download the code for all of this. So if you go up here, you can just download as HTML, and I'm just going to do that for each and every one, and then you will see what we do with it in a second. Okay. So we have a few things uploaded here, and just kind of demonstrate the upload on Netlify. It's pretty simple. You just kind of are going to drag that whole folder in, and so the folder is going to contain the HTML file. Obviously, for the HTML files, they need to be renamed to index.html so it knows what to pull. I'm going to go back to our projects, and well, I can show you, sorry, one of the ones I just added. There's our recipe converter is there. And then let's go to the other one I just uploaded, which is our Pomodoro app. This is the one I'm most excited about and most likely to actually use. So I think I'm going to start with this one and just kind of walk you through how we're going to embed it in Notion. This part should be pretty simple, but I guess we're going to find out. So actually, let me copy the link from here just so I don't accidentally get anything else in it. So link is copied to this webpage. And then I'm going to jump back into my Notion. I just created kind of like a blank widgets page here, and we're going to go to embed, and then you're going to paste in that URL, embed the link, and hopefully, oh yay, it works. Good. So it's interesting to get a little bit of scroll bar there if the window's not the right size. One of the things that we might have considered, now looking back on it, is making this responsive so it would kind of like move and collapse with the window, but for these purposes, I'm fine with how this turned out. I'm going to go ahead and do another embed. And then we got to go back and just grab the link. So let's do the recipe converter as well, just for funsies. Recipe converter, paste, embed. Very cool. So same deal here. It's not responsive. We're definitely going to have to size these blocks accordingly. I think, so let me just put them side by side, even though I know this isn't going to be the most ideal view. They actually technically are a little responsive. So, okay, that's cool. That's good to know. I could probably make this page wider as well, just to make it feel a little bit nicer. And sorry, now I'm just playing with Notion itself. But this worked, I would say, probably a little bit better than I expected, and I would definitely use this again. I think I would put a little bit more work into the prompting to get something very like hyper specific to my needs. But as far as, I mean, a completely free stack goes, that was incredibly seamless. Really impressed with all of the tools. Netlify's drag and drop was really, really easy for me, not to have to host anything myself. Being able just to embed things with a URL in Notion is fantastic, especially because I'm on just a free plan. And then Claude as well. I'm only on the free plan for Claude at the moment. And this is some pretty darn good development for, you know, a completely no-code solution. I'm going to use these for a while and test them out and just see how it works for me in the long run. If this is something that is useful to you, like any of these widgets that I created, and they're being hosted anyways, if you would benefit from having those URLs so you can embed them into your own Notion, I guess just drop a comment. I'm happy to just send that over to you. Maybe in the future, I think what I'll look into as a next project is actually hosting them themselves, making sure the URLs are on my own domain. I think that would be a good thing to try out. And then I'm going to look into doing some widgets that aren't so static in terms of data, maybe something that would interact directly with the data inside of my Notion. That would be a bigger, slightly more challenging project, but definitely seems like the next obvious step. If this was useful, let me know. If there's something else you'd like to see, I would love to hear it. Thank you.